Chirpy YouTube channel. Welcome to our video today. This is the third video in my series on using communication books. This is the first time our kids are going to have access to more than one visual at the same time. Step 3 is picture discrimination. This is where kids learn that they have to actually look at the pictures and pick something they want instead of something they don't want. In this step, you'll notice I have geared up for snack time here. I have fruit snacks and I have pretzels. This is something I might do if I know that the kid really loves fruit snacks and doesn't like pretzels so much. The idea is that we're going to put in something we know the kid wants and something we know the kid probably does not want. This makes it easier to discriminate and it makes it more motivating, because if I pick the wrong one and I get pretzels, well, I would only give the kid one pretzel as a demonstration. If I get something I don't want, then I'm going to work harder next time to pick the thing I really do want. That is your goal. Of course, this doesn't just work with snacks. If you know that your child wants the train, you put the train in the book and you also put the penguins, or maybe you put the rocket balloons, something that you know your kid is not looking for right now. And then your child works on picking the thing that she really wants. At this point, your child should be independent from the last steps. Your child should be independent at picking a picture and handing it to you. What your child will probably not be used to is having to look at two pictures to figure out which one to give you. All she knows is she's giving you something and you're giving her what she wants in return. She doesn't necessarily know that she's giving you a picture of what she wants. So there will be some challenge in that. And there will be some times where she asks for something she does not want. And in those cases, she will probably throw a little bit of a fit and you will say, no, that's not what I want. You will model for her the language that in an appropriate world she would be using to communicate her upsetness and her frustration. You want to say it from her point of view. No, I want fruit snacks. You're gonna put the pretzels back in the book and say, not pretzels, fruit snacks. You're gonna show her the fruit snacks up real close. Fruit snacks, still not going in focus. Fruit snacks. And then you're gonna give her a fruit snack. If you are doing this with food, I recommend just one thing at a time. So if you're doing pretzels, just one pretzel. If you're doing fruit snacks, just 1 or 2 fruit snacks, because this gives the children a better opportunity to practice because they have to do it more often. If you're doing rocket balloons, every time that you blow up a balloon, the kid should have to request the rocket balloons again. So we want to create as many opportunities for practicing these requests as possible. Another thing you want to keep in mind is that when you put the pictures back in the book after the kids take them out, don't put them back in the same spot. So if this one was, I think it was over here before, if it was over here before and the kid uses it to request something, hands it to you, you have it again, don't put it back in this corner, put it over there. We don't want the kid to get used to picking whatever is in this corner and handing it to you. This is about picture discrimination. We need the kids to actually look at the pictures and discriminate between them and also decide which one of these things it is that they want. If the picture's always in the same spot, the kid will get used to picking from the spot and the exercise will not have the same effect. So keep that in mind also. In some cases, kids have a very difficult time transitioning between stage 2 and stage 3 of this process. Stage 2 being picking an item and handing it to you, and stage 2 being discriminating between the two objects. One reason for this might be that a child has vision problems. I worked with a little guy who was drug exposed in utero, and he had a lot of difficulty with his vision. And so we could not use a communication book like this with these tiny little pictures. I think we used the same size, but we used larger pictures that were this big. And indeed, at the beginning, I think we just used a piece of cardboard with the pieces stuck on them, large pictures of the items. starting with one item at a time, of course. If there's a vision problem, you got to deal with that. If you think your child is having difficulty seeing, please get that examined, because it's very difficult to interact with the world and stay engaged if you can't see stuff, as well as having some sort of a developmental delay. So that's an extra issue that you want to make sure you deal with. Another problem is that the kids might not actually look. A lot of our kids on the autism spectrum don't direct their gaze where we want them to a lot of the time. So they'll just reach for stuff and pull it off and hand it to you. And this is one of the cases where it's helpful to have another adult in the picture, because if the kid is just reaching, you can stand there waiting for the child to hand you something and looking excited to see what it's going to be that the child is going to request. And the other adult can hold this up right in front of the child's face, can take the child's hand, grab what they know the child wants, and put it in your hand. It also helps if the person points. I mean, you're holding it right up in front of the child's face, and the person is holding the child's hand and pointing, fruit snacks, pretzels, fruit snacks, and then hands it to you. We don't want the person to be saying words. We just want that person to be a physical prompt, helping the child to realize that this is a choice. This is a choice right here. I have two options. I get to make a choice which one of them I get. And that other adult is helping support the process of making that choice and communicating that choice to a communication partner. There you have it. That is the third stage in our communication book learning protocol. Remember, don't rush your child through any of these stages. It's important that the child have a very solid base at each stage to be able to build on to the next stage. Sometimes keep in mind that if your child has an illness, a hospitalization, hopefully that never happens, any sort of injury, or if your child's going through a physical growing spurt where motor skills are coming in, where maybe molars are coming in, those kind of things can take kids back a bit in the communication development department. I've seen that happen. It's not unusual. So don't freak out if all of a sudden your child is learning to hop on one foot and all of a sudden isn't able to request from two pictures at a time anymore and has taken a step backwards a little bit. Just back up with your child, work on that previous skill until it's super solid, and then move forward again. It's not a big deal. Kids do make progress. We have to be very consistent, and sometimes it's us. Sometimes it's the adults in the equation who are not being consistent enough, and that's why the child is not learning to communicate. Sometimes we get overwhelmed by stuff. We forget that the child needs to be actually requesting stuff rather than just us handing it to them. And sometimes our lives are overwhelming and we let it go on purpose. But kids don't learn unless we teach them, especially our kids who have developmental differences. They need specifically to be taught. They don't learn very well from their environment for reasons which I discussed in previous videos and which I will no doubt discuss again. It has to do with engagement. I hope that you have a wonderful week. Please stay healthy and enjoy this day with your kids, with your family. Look outside and see something beautiful and enjoy that. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.